All right, hello everybody. Welcome to our next lesson here. Achievements, abilities, and interest. This is for our unit or the unit testing in psychology. So our objectives and standards to understand the purpose of different types of psychological tests and analyze the difference between psychological tests, and take a moment there to read the standard as well. A desired result. How do different psychological tests assess people? Vocabulary. Aptitude test. An aptitude test is a process of attempting to discover a person's talents and to predict how he or she will be able to learn a new skill. An achievement test is designed to measure how much a person has learned in a particular area, and an interest inventory is used to determine the preference and attitude in a wide variety of activities to identify areas of likely success. We're going to talk about all three of these today. So testing for talents and skills. In an attempt to discover a person's talents and to predict how they will be able to learn a new skill, aptitude tests are administered. So primarily, they are assessed in terms of predictive validity. Examples of such aptitude tests are the differential aptitude test, or the DATE, and the general aptitude test battery, the GATB. More widely used of these tests is the GATB. The GATB comprises of 9 different testing ranges, from vocabulary to manual dexterity, and these results are used to determine whether a person shows a promise for each of the large number of occupations. Now, there are also GATB tests specifically in music, art, mathematics, language, and other fields. So again, aptitude tests are to predict how likely or how successful you would be in, say, being a teacher, or maybe an artist, or maybe a weather person, or a construction worker. So again, that's what the point of an aptitude test is, to see how successful you might be in a certain area. Now, general aptitude tests, which you may have heard of already, also include the SAT and the American College Test, or the ACT. Both were designed to predict a student's success in college. A best predictor of this is how a student did in high school, but because different standards and different, states and different areas, even, your local school districts in your area, between, maybe in your area or next to you, they might have different standards or different grading processes that, make your grades different in terms of different subjects. So the purpose of using the SAT and the ACT is combining these high school grades with SAT results are a good prediction of how a student's success in college will actually go. Now, achievement. Determining how much a person has learned in a certain area is the job of an achievement test. This could be like a math test, or a history test, or a science test, okay? These are all achievement tests. These tests allow an instructor to check a student's knowledge and allow the student to also see their own progress. They might say, hey, I did well on this test, and then 2 weeks later they might say, really didn't do too well on that math test. I need to study more of that area. Now, computers are frequently used to administer achievement tests, since they can adapt to a person's performance and include more questions where you struggle. Sometimes the line between an aptitude and achievement test have become blurred, and people might be confused or not sure if they're taking an aptitude test or an achievement test. So here's some things to help you understand the difference, as well as help psychologists understand the difference. A test that is used to predict future ability is known as an aptitude test, and tests that are used to assess what a person's can't talk. I'm sorry. To test what a person knows is an achievement test. Interest inventories. Now, fundamentally, different instruments are used in measuring interest. For example, on an intelligence test, there are right and wrong answers that measure a person's thinking, such as the SAT. There's right and wrong answers. If you take a test in math, there's obviously right or wrong answers. So aptitude and achievement tests have right and wrong answers. However, Answers on an interest or personality test have no correct or incorrect answers. The essential purpose of an interest inventory is to determine a person's preferences, attitudes, and interests. Responses are compared to those of people in similar occupations or backgrounds. So you might take an interest inventory and maybe your occupations match maybe a doctor, let's say maybe this guy's a lawyer, and we'll say maybe an astronaut. Okay, so those could be maybe 3 examples of when you take an interest inventory that your answers match answers given by doctors, astronauts, and lawyers. So it gives you kind of an idea about what field you may want to go into. Patterns are identified between the participant and occupations that they may enjoy or succeed in. Now, there are different types of inventory tests. An example of an interest inventory that is very widely used is the Campbell Interest and Skills Survey. What this does is psychologists compare the responses of people who are successfully employed in different occupations to people in general. Again, looking at the answers of firemen or teachers or lawyers or doctors, and then comparing your answers to their answers. Another item that is used in interest inventories is the Cooter Preference Record, or the KPR. Now, both these measures help people find a career that is right for them. However, there's some criticism about interest inventories that they're not very helpful to those who may be very undecided about a career. So when you take the interest inventory, if you're still very undecided about what you want to do, you might just kind of be picking a bunch of random different answers. You're not really focused, I guess is their point, where if you think, hey, I want to go into medicine, more of your answers will guide you towards that, I guess. Another thing to think about interest inventories is people should consider their own interests in terms of career and not just base a decision off the results. If you take an interest inventory and it tells you that you should, be an artist, and you say, well, I don't like art, but my interest inventory says I should be an artist and, paint like Picasso or things like that. Don't just go off the interest inventory. If you don't like art and just because it says you'd be good at it, don't pick that, is what they're trying to say, is, realize your own interest, too. It's still just a test, and tests don't always provide the correct answers all the time. All right, so closure. How do different psychological tests assess people? Think about aptitude tests, think about achievement tests, and think about interest inventories. What's the differences, what's the similarities, and what are their purposes? All right, so I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll talk to you soon.